Are we live?
We are live and there's no you, so I waited.
Hold on. All right, let me make sure. There I am. Okay. Here we are.
Good morning.
The Dave and Dave Show, episode 67. No, not today. No, this is all Facebook.
I really.
Negative.
I love
Go,
Facebook.
go.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put this on
Hi,
because
Alan.
I have terrorists in here. So, okay, let's make sure that we are in. We are in. Okay. All right.
Is this Facebook or all of or Facebook Nest Connect?
All of. So,
Okay.
Angie said I had some white schmutz on me. Okay.
It's probably the ivory soap that I put in your mouth last night.
They can't see what I said on the Nest Connect. So guys, ask any questions. I'm going to be monitoring the questions from here. I want you to ask questions regarding the market, regarding what to do as a realtor right now, what to do as a business, what just about when we're opening and things like that. Ask away. But I want to start with Pops. You didn't even see this. All right, first of all, episode 67. I gotta get out of this sun. Episode 67. What do you usually say? My age.
My age, I said it already.
Well, this today is actually true.
Yeah, I am 67.
Well, welcome to this little conversation my father and I have been having for 42 years. This is what the Dave and Dave Show is. This is what we do every single day. I am going to move this because I am very bright. So this is the quote I put, Pops. If not you, then who? If not when? If not now, then when? If not me, then who? Just as bright. If not now, then when? So what do you think I mean by that, Pop?
If not who, then you.
No, if not me, then who?
You. If not me, then who? If I don't take a stance on what I've believed in all my life, then how can anyone else take a stance? If I don't show to do the right thing, how could I expect anyone else to do the right thing? If I don't live in honesty and integrity, how could I expect anyone else to live in those honest and integral parts? That's how I take it.
You know, it's funny. I usually am the one who is applying it to life, and you're usually the one applying it to real estate. And today we're opposite. But I agree with everything you said. That being said, when I think about the agents and their mindsets right now, I think they have to have a conversation of why not me? Why not now? And there's these limiting beliefs of I can't help my clients right now. I can't make money right now. And I believe that if so many people finally good. If so many people are thinking that, then the opportunity is there for everyone who's asked themselves that great question of why not me? Why not now? So I also put it with, we can only control what we do today. And you're probably sitting there going, where is he going with this? And everyone's so focused on when things are going to open up, when it's going to go back to normal, if there is such a thing, when I'm going to be able to do real estate or do my business the way I want to do it. And I think that they're asking the wrong questions. I think the right question is, why not now? Why not me? And let me control what I can control today, just today. What do you think of that?
I think that we all give an answer to that that suits our needs. And I think that the world of agents have to decide where they want to be and what they want to do. Some agents never stopped working. Some agents are out there again with gloves and sanitizer and masks. And some agents are saying, I am never leaving the house until I get an all clear. And I think that's choice. And I think it should be the choice that you're comfortable with. But I think on your line of thought that the realization is that houses are selling, houses are being listed, and the work is still out there. So again, I say choice because it's your choice. We have agents out there with the hand sanitizer, the gloves, the masks for their clients and themselves. And they're showing homes, selling homes, closing on homes, walk through on homes, coming into the office, meeting them there with social distancing, getting their checks, talking and getting everything they need in the office. But as I said, I believe it's choice. And that's what I believe our company is about, giving you the ability to have it there, but giving you the choice to do what's comfortable.
So I want to push further though. I don't care how scared you are. There's a way to make it work. For instance, because this is where I want to challenge everyone's beliefs and outside the box thinking. Okay. This has nothing to do with safety. If you feel like you need to stay at home, that's fine. That doesn't mean you can't still make 100 phone calls and reach out to all the people you care about and still do marketing. And there's other agents out there that feel comfortable and you can get splits and send them out with your leads and you could still have an income. There's always a way to rise above the situation you're in. Does that make sense? Like I was just thinking that what would I be doing if I was just a realtor right now? I mean, you and I, our primary focus is on our company, right?
Yep. And our
taking
agents calling, yeah.
And taking care of our agents and making sure they're in the mindset. But I think a good leader needs to put themselves in the situation of the people that they're leading and saying, make sure that my advice and my guidance is not hypocritical. It's something that I'd be willing to do myself, right? The worst coach or leader or teacher is someone who is unwilling to do the things they recommend, or not even unwilling, they haven't done it themselves, right? In 2008, we thrived, right? We put ourselves in good situations. To this day, you and I, knock on wood, have not lost a penny on a house. We may have lost equity, but we weren't over leveraged, so we saw cash flow every single month. We were as prepared for 2008 as one can be. We were willing to get uncomfortable and move out of our Red Rock houses. Funny story, my dad and I lived 2 doors down from each other in Red Rock, right?
Like typical New York Italian.
It was such a pain in the ass too, because I was 11533 and were you 33?
No, you got it right.
And you were 11553.
Right. 20.
And I got his mail and he got my mail. And we told all of our clients in 08, because we were doing high-end business, we said, listen, the high end is holding up. You got to sell before the bottom drops out. Remember? We had 8 listings on one street in Red Rock. And intelligently, I think it was your idea. You said there's no way we could put signs on every house because it's going to look like a fire sale. So we strategically put signs, I believe, on like 3 or 4 of the houses, just out of the 8. And we sold, just on that street alone, 6 out of the 8. And the 2 that didn't sell regretted it probably for the rest of their lives, right?
Why didn't they sell? Because they were overpriced. They wouldn't listen to us.
We got them the offers too. I remember that 3102, was it 3102?
Yeah.
And it was $1 million. And I was like, this is beautiful. He wanted to get to San Diego. Anyway, my father and I were willing to sell our beautiful homes in Red Rock And at the time, what was I, like 30, maybe 31, and right? And we moved into a house that was about 1,800 square feet
My rental.
together. Not easy. We had so much furniture in the front room. It was a loft like room. It had, right, a cathedral
Two-story,
ceiling,
yeah, yeah.
that it was stacked like 2 stories high. You had to walk through a maze to get in. And then finally, my father moved out into one of his other rentals when the renter left. And I bought a house in Monte Rosa, but we were willing to not let our egos get in the way and willing to do what was required. Right?
And we did. We
And
did.
And then what did you do with that rental? This is an important story for people that are unwilling to get uncomfortable.
I held the rental till 2017.
Wait, how
s-
much was the house in Red Rock you sold and the house you moved in on the rental, the difference?
The house in Red Rock was 945. The house I moved into at that time was about 300.
A lot of people with a lot of ego could not have pulled that off.
Well, I don't have a lot of ego.
And then what did you even more intelligently do, since it was a 1031 exchange from New York?
I moved into my 1 story in the gardens. That was a 1031. As long as you lived in it 2 of the 5 years, all the tax profits that originally started off as a $60,000 home. I got to write off all that money because it was now my primary, and I had the 250 because it was my primary, and the 1031 gets written off. So I stayed in that and wrote that off.
And he got $250,000 tax free. That started on Belport Avenue in 1989.
85.
85. So why am I telling you this story to the people out there? It's just, I don't accept the notion that you're paralyzed. I don't accept it, because there's other people out there in worse situations that are more scared and more uncertain that are making it work. They are. Even if they're immunocompromised, they got someone out there, they're making it rain, and someone out there making someone else some money while they're making themselves money.
Well, how about our one agent that is compromised in a certain way? He has a mask, a shield, gloves, a top plastic suit, and he supplies everything to the clients, listing and selling, and he's making it work. And you got to give a lot of kudos to that, because he's out there showing, and that's a good thing.
Necessity is the mother of an invention, right? Is that how it
And,
goes?
yeah, and we got to be careful. Like, I'm going to give you an NAR scoop what happened this morning.
Yeah, jump in.
The mayor of are we looking at your life tree? Is that what we're doing?
I hate every angle, so I'm trying to find a good one.
So the mayor of New Orleans said today that she's closing the city to any large conventions till 2021. Where's the NAR convention this year? New Orleans. So rather than panicking, we all got the video this morning. NAR is saying, okay, let's see what we could do. It's in November, and they're working with it. So to go on to your thought, Dave, of saying, oh my God, the sky is falling. You're right. We have to work with what we're doing. And guess what? I turned around and said, oh, let's go to Vegas, figuring it'd be a boost to our economy. But they'll find a different place and they'll go with the convention, and life moves on. So we have to be adjusting ourselves as the minute comes. And every day you watch the news, you get new facts. Unemployment is now available to us, but it isn't going to be available on the computer or calling in till May 1st. They haven't figured out how to get a 1099 employee. So you could register, but you're not going to get any money till May 1st. So it's active and fluid by the day, the same way real estate is. And again, on the NAR benefit, we are so lucky that we are able to show homes because other states have deemed real estate non-essential and they are out of business.
Well, they tried it in California, and then they found out that real estate is essential.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people got to
Made a
buy and stuff.
mistake, yeah.
Even with the horrific numbers in New York, they kept it essential.
Yeah. Another thing I read today, I don't know if you guys did, is that appraisals may get done 120 days after the closing.
Then what's the point of the appraisal?
I don't know, but they say, I read it today on an NAR update. I was like, wow, this is great. We close, don't need an appraisal. No one's going to give the money back, but that's one of the statements they wrote today. So
Listen,
things are changing.
You got to be good at dancing. Like
Yeah.
dancing is like you're reacting to your partner and then you're proactive and it's a fluid movement and you don't know where it's going to go. And you're just kind of taking cues off each other. You know, if tomorrow everything is opened, there's no change. I don't believe there's change because until people have a mindset change, then nothing has changed. So
I agree.
Why are people waiting? I'm not saying, listen, you no matter what the rules of the game are, if they change from hour to hour or day to day or week to week to month, you learn the rules and you thrive from within them. I don't care what president it is, what state I live in, what market it is, what's going on. I am committed to thriving because there's always someone who is going to just cut out all the bullshit in any situation and they're just going to dance. You know what I mean? So
I
like,
agree.
I'm
You
trying
got
to
to go from the hustle to the cha-cha to the limbo and you keep going through the dance.
And I think about it like we've pivoted in the way we do things and we've learned some really great things about our companies, ourselves, where, you know, some conversations that needed to be had about what is working and what's not. This is the opportunity to wake up. Just wake up. I mean, I was thinking of this concept, and I know you're going to be nice about it, and I'm not trying to be harsh about it. But I was on my walk with the girls today, and I was like, how weak has all of society, not America, not Italy, not China, just all of it, that we can't sustain, that we can't last 4 weeks. We can't get disrupted for 4 weeks and our financial health gets screwed up. We're not resilient enough to handle 4 weeks mentally. So our mental health, we're not resilient. And I was like, I get it. This is like a big change. But man, you would think that businesses and people and relationships could handle 4 weeks of disruption. And I'm not judging anybody. I know I'm very grateful for the situation that I'm in, but I'm also going to take credit. You know, I believe you create your own luck, right? But that being said, like, I know when you were in tough spots raising me financially and mentally, you still persevered and put your head down and went. And you didn't use it as an excuse to be a victim or to cry about it and went. I mean, the situation you were in when, you know, 1981, when you're in debt and you got me and it looked bleak, but you figured it out. And I love you because this is the way it should be. And I'm like you, you taught me this. You hold yourself to such a higher standard than you hold everyone else to. But I think you need to give them that gift of holding them to that standard too, because you're robbing of that. And if you're giving them an out, because you refuse to give me an out.
Never. Never.
But am I wrong with this? I mean,
I think that everyone is handling it in the way that they're capable of. So I knew you were capable of handling things. So that's how I treated you. If you were a different kid, I may not have done that, you know, so.
I disagree.
Yeah, I do too. I think that was soft BS.
No, I mean, you cannot break through without the breakdown. You cannot grow without the pain. You didn't wait to see it in me. You made it that way.
I put it in you.
I mean, come on, and like the best thing about the way you taught me, and I think I have it in my life across every area of my life, is tough love. Where like, basically it's like accountability at the highest level, and I'm going to love you and not judge you at the same time. Does that make sense?
It does.
Like,
It does.
figure it out, but come here and I love you. I mean, it's basically like the Italian way, tough love, right? And the job, I believe, of a parent, of a leader, of a coach, a trainer, a broker, is to see in other people what they don't see in themselves, to show them a possibility of what they are capable of in even the most difficult of time. And even if they need, some people need a kick in the ass to get into the pool and they figure out how to swim. Some people need a gentle nudge. Some people you need to walk them into the pool, but you got to get in the water.
I agree.
So oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I didn't know. I was going to ask you a
I
question.
said I'm all about accountability in 08 when I was at 07 in the brokerage. And they cut all the services to us because the economy was bad. I went and said, are our fees going to be cut? And they said, why should your fees be cut? And I said, because you cut all our services. And they said no. And I left that company. And that's why I believe in accountability. And I believe that we have really tried and haven't cut any of our services.
Not one.
Because if you cut services to save money as a brokerage, then the agents deserve the break on the way down. So that is my moral attitude and my moral compass. And that's why I believe we're giving everything we should.
For all of you out there, you probably think I'm the intense one and but don't let this guy fool you. Back then at that company we were at, actually it doesn't even matter anymore. That people don't even own it anymore. You don't want me to say the name? No. It was prior to the Realty One days. I'll just put it that way. He was more aggressive. The owners of the company actually, you got to love Pops. This is total typical him. When the crisis hit, even though he wasn't the broker of the company, he was the unofficial broker. And they leveraged him to keep the masses with great perspective. And I don't want to say under control, but happy. They put you up front in the meetings as the leader, right? And what did they give you? Doo-doo, da-da. So if you don't think how you act in a time of crisis is how you're going to be judged. Him and I walked out of that company, and 30 people the day we gave our notice with us because they followed us to another company. And that ended up with probably 300 or 400 of those agents following us to the next company, because you led in a time of crisis. You held them accountable. You didn't do it in a mean way. You did it in a fair way. There were high fees already, but you got to step up in that time. So look, these are the examples of how to handle this. And he's right, Pops, you're right. There is no wrong way to handle this to an extent. You're allowed to go through the machinations of freak out mode, but you're not allowed to stay there. I will not allow that of myself, and I will not allow that of anyone that I lead or care about. You cannot stay there. That is unacceptable.
I agree.
All right. So let's say me, you, and Angie are a team, and we're not owners of a real estate company. And this is going on right now. What are we doing right now to keep us producing and helping and serving our clients?
Phone calls to every contact we've ever sold, listed, friends, anyone in our business. Phone them direct. One agent, I felt really bad. They said they sent out mailers And Dave and I are so alike. I
Wait,
laugh.
I got, before you put your foot in it, because I did yesterday, I got a text from one of our agents saying she got 2 clients off a mailer.
Well, but I preface it with you and I are psychos and we throw out any mail that isn't
I touch it and then I go like
right,
this to my
exactly,
face.
exactly. So now that I'm getting magazines, junk mail, anything from real estate, anything that I know isn't a bill, I basically throw it out before it even hits the house.
She did the smart one though. The smart one of I legitimately, realtors, don't do this if it's BS. I legitimately have a buyer for someone in your community.
Oh, that's different, yeah.
And that works, but it needs to be coming from a place of honesty.
Yep. It can't be a way of just getting listings by having a pretend buyer that truly isn't interested in the neighborhood. I totally agree with that.
But proof that even I put my foot in it yesterday on our Nest Connect, our private Facebook.
I
was like-
agreed because we're so the same.
I'm like,
If I could, I'd spit on the mail and throw it on the ground.
listen, social media right now is the game. Email is the game. You know, people are on, I've never had worse cell phone and internet service in my life because so many people are using it right now. Now is the time. If you have the money, now is the time to double down on marketing.
Well, I have a wall in front of me, a empty house to the right of me, and 85-year-olds to the left of me. So my internet service is beautiful
It's
because
zipping.
nobody's using it.
Zipping.
Exactly, zipping.
And you also don't have 2 children and online schools and Netflixes and 2
No.
phones and
No,
it's
it's
insanity.
all me about the Netflix.
So if I'm the team partner with you and Angie right now, I am, yes. I'm starting with my CRM. I'm getting emails out to all my people that aren't corporate and like cold. They are personalized and they are not just real estate related. They are somehow caring and more than just business relationship. Here are some ideas to do while you're at home, blah, 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 blah. I'm also getting on the phone and talking to them.
Yeah, and the first question on the phone is, hey,
How you
how
doing?
are you?
Yeah.
Are you and your family okay? That's the question I want to hear when someone's calling me. And then get on to, wow, real estate isn't dead. It's alive and open. And do you need any help? But the first thing is to come out of the heart with, how are you? Are you okay? Because when you ask that question, you'd be very surprised to hear, no, one of my family or my friends has coronavirus. And then you could get in that discussion. Can I do anything for you? Are you okay? You know, that's the conversation I would have. And then I would go on to the real estate conversation, which is what they expect out of you.
I mean,
Yeah.
yes and no. It depends. If you haven't been like this before, I mean, you and I, it's who we are. I mean, I don't know if it's Italian, New York, if it's the way we were raised, but all of our so-called clients have become our friends, right? So we're going to jump into a deeper conversation anyway. It's going to be more like a phone call to a friend. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, you take care of your
I think
friends in business.
I think a lot of agents gather that relationship with their clients.
I agree.
after it's done. That's why when everyone said iBuyer and I kept raising my eyebrow saying good luck to you, because look what we're going. Let's talk about iBuyer for a minute. Is the
Okay.
iBuyer going to say to you, well, is your job there? Let's see if I could get the earnest. Is it going to get better? Let's talk. Let's really get, no, they're not going to do that. Oh, you lost your jumbo loan. We just had one close today. The guy lost his jumbo loan. Our agent went to the lender that he was using, repackaged the whole loan and closed it today. Is an iBuyer going to do that? What happened to those 42 contracts that Zillow had when coronavirus in Las Vegas? What happened to them, Dave? Canceled all 42, right?
They became the who?
Yeah.
My favorite, right?
So personal, individual attention of an agent to their buyer or seller is never, ever, ever gonna not be part of an integral part of the real estate transaction.
Listen, I don't
Never.
think it's just real estate. I think we're all learning that the hard way right now. Like I'm done with Postmates and Uber Eats if I don't have to. I'm calling the restaurants direct and trying to get it delivered directly from them so they don't have to give away a portion of their proceeds to the in between guy. I'm done playing the made in China game. I listen. Some of my best friends in the world are Chinese. I'm not saying this is nothing against that. I'm talking about I'm getting it as close to local as possible. You know,
Right.
if that's why I'm so proud and I double down on the fact that we are a locally owned, independent, small business real estate company, organic, right? And I'm going to the restaurants that the people know me. I mean, you're finding it out on the payment protection plan. If you don't have a relationship in your bank, good luck to you, right? Relationships matter so much. The local banks I see are helping out at a higher level. The local realtors, this is more community. This isn't about we're such a corporate company, we're going to cut 25% right off the top across nationwide, and because we don't really know or care about our people on a first name basis. This is an example of in times that are rough, in times that are difficult, your community and your local people are even more important and integral.
And to that note, we're gonna cut your profit share check, but are we gonna cut your fees, cut the percentage we're taking from you? If you're part of the bigger plan, if you're considered like you own part of it or you get results from it, then when profits go down, you go down. When profits go up, you go up. And no one's treating people like that. They're just cutting employees, cutting profits. And that's not the game if I'm not partially an owner.
That's why I called it last week, OG real estate here to stay. And people were like, what the hell are you talking about, Dave? And, you know, for you rap fans out there, you know, OG, original gangsta, baby. And the reality is, like, anyone could survive in a great market. You know, when the stock market propped disruptors and things are going well, but then you got 3 weeks or not even 2 weeks of bad news and everyone's cut, offers off the table, sayonara, too bad. No, the original way of doing the business, we're still here working because we're your neighbors. We're in the community. We shop at the same stores. We eat at the same restaurants. That's the difference you're talking about, Pops.
Yeah.
Especially me. Listen, I'm trying to be as much kumbaya as possible, but here comes the tough love again, right? That you always try to temper. The irony of him trying to temper my realness is I got it from him. But there's a company, a virtual company with a 3-letter name. I'll leave it at that. And their expenses are nothing. I've seen the financial sheets of so many real estate companies. I analyze ours all the time. The two biggest, by far, expenses of almost any company, but especially real estate, are what, Dad? What are the two biggest expenses?
Your rent for all your offices and your staff.
And your staff. Well, this company doesn't have any offices. It's basically Regis Suites, right? And the offices are provided by the agents. So that expense is already off the table. So you would think that their margins are unbelievable because they get $20,000 right off the top from the agents, and they don't have a lot of overhead, and they don't have as much payroll because when you don't have a lot of space, Pop, you don't have to fill it with what? Staff. So I would assume, and maybe I'm wrong, that there wouldn't have to be a lot of cuts to a company like that. Would you agree?
I would.
Yet 15% of the staff gone.
That's because it's a stock company. They have to keep their stock up and they have to do it. Why did Zillow cancel all those transactions? If they were regular buyers buying, would the buyers have canceled the transaction? 1 or 2 may have, maybe 5 if they lost their job, but not 40 something in one day. So
I'm curious to see how the iBuyers pivot, because a lot of these iBuyers, they're backed by the same companies like Blackstone that
Right.
used to buy during the downturn.
Right.
And if we get into the downturn again, which again, I'm living for today, I know right now the market is holding strong. We'll talk about that next. But if we get into a downturn, do you see companies like Pinnacle, is it Pinnacle or Blackstone doing the buy and holds? Because the iBuyers, their game is not buy and hold. Their game is buy and flip.
Right.
And when people are losing money, they're not going to be able to just be like, oh, I'm going to pay a $20,000 convenience fee.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
And the other thing is when the iBuyer became the game, how many companies set up a program within their company saying, if you want to do the iBuyer program, you could still come to us and we'll do the iBuyer program within the company. We never did that. We never lessened our service. We never exposed our agents to say to them, give the listing away, know that the seller is going to lose a ton of money and we'll give you a portion of the commission. That's not who we are. And showing who we are, that we didn't give into that and we could have grabbed right into that, shows you where the market should be. Because now I wonder how those programs are working.
It's a tough game, right? Like, you know, wholesalers and flippers, you know, they love getting a good deal. You know, people go buy a car in somebody's garage that's been sitting there, like a 69 Camaro. And, you know, the old lady is like, I don't know what it's worth. Here, buy it for 5,000 and it's worth like 100,000. And the guy runs out and makes 95,000. That's not me. I can't do that. I mean, and I don't believe, if you really look at code of ethics and fiduciary, we're here to protect people. You know, I always tell the story in Amber Ridge. Someone reached out to Angie and said, I want to sell my condo backing the, I'm going to sneeze in 3 seconds.
Bless you, bless you, bless you.
Thank you. I'm going to sell a condo back in the Wash. And he's like, I'm going through the Wash. I just want 180,000. You know, at that point, most people say, you know what? I'll buy it for you right now for 180. But what did Angie say?
You could get way, way more. Let's
You
list
get
it high.
300,000, clean it up and put 5,000 in.
Mm-hmm.
That's the right thing to do. So I never really was a big fan. You know, I don't want to win unless it's fair. And
No.
maybe that's idealistic. But that's where I'm at. All right.
And one other thing in NAR, remember we voted as the board of directors. I'm giving you fair warning, May 1st, if you advertise your property in a sign, on Facebook, in an ad, in a book, and it is not on MLS within 1 day of that sign or post, you are set up for an AR violation immediately.
Unless you have an exclusion.
No.
Even the
Nope,
exclusion doesn't work?
nothing works. If you are come May 1st, if you are advertising it with the sign, any of those things I mentioned, Facebook, it has, and you are a member of MLS, it has to be on the market and you have 1 day to do it. So the violations will be going on your local, state, national level, and the policy is quite clear. So May 1st, take your sign down if you don't have it on MLS.
All right, let's talk about the market. We talked a little bit about this yesterday on your broker roundtable. Tuesdays at the Nest, we do stats every single week just for our agents. And we're talking about the amount of houses selling versus what's our inventory, how many months of inventory we have. And I never got your take on this, Pops, but it's still what I would say holding the line. But I was like, 2,000 transactions, maybe 2,200 transactions closing a month is not the end of the world. It's not where we should be. In March, we're usually probably at like 4,500, 5,000 houses trading, maybe 4,500. And then April, May, June, it gets even better. So we're kind of stuck in this November to February market. that we're used to in the winter and the holiday season, which all things considered, I think is not too bad. What do you think?
Everyone thought we were gonna go to zero, that we were gonna, that's it. There's never gonna be another, never sale, never have another closing. And people aren't gonna list, and all that went the other way. Everyone that had to sell is listing. Everyone that has to buy or wants to buy because they feel that there's been price reductions and the interest rate is low, they're buying. And what's going on is we may have lost 50% of our sales. Let's just use that number. And that's not good.
No,
But here's the good part. We kept 50%, which everyone in the beginning of this crisis thought would go to zero. So if you take a restaurant that closed, or let's take a tavern that has machines in it, it's a little, they can't do to, even though they're a restaurant, they can't do to go because taverns were excluded. So
casinos
they,
too.
right, they went from 100% to zero, nothing. No machines, no dinners, no takeout, nothing. We have gone from 100 maybe to 50. How lucky are we to have gone at this, during this crisis? And that 50 may go up every week because people are getting used to this as a way of life. We're getting used to it. When I
I agree.
walk and people see me now, we all distance ourselves 10 feet. We wave, we say, how was your holiday? How you doing? And one stays on the sidewalk and the other one goes on the street. So we've learned how to exist in this current way of life. Well, that's what happened in real estate. The people that want to sell, must sell, want to buy, must buy, they've learned to do it a different way. And we're very lucky that we have the business we have.
So I got a question which I think we could segue and connect pretty well. The question is, what is your take on yesterday's announcement by Nevada Unemployment that they are still researching vendors to service the 1099 independent contractor gig worker applicants, and that the process might not be up and working until early mid-May? So logically, these workers won't see any money until mid-May. I'm going to answer this if you don't mind. Here's where I would look at this. Again, glass half full. Again, what can we do today? In 2008, there was no bailout for these workers at all. If you're an independent contractor, you were SOL, baby. So yes, I'm with you. It sucks that you're going to have to wait. But I would be so grateful that I have the opportunity to collect on something that it's just, I think, the first time in history that unemployment's been extended out to 1099 gig workers, independent contractors. So yes, it's not fun. I mean, listen, we're waiting for our PPP for probably 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. I'm with you, but I would just stay diligent, make it work to mid-May and go. And look at
And
it
they
from
also said they're gonna pay you from March 15th.
so you can get a big check.
In other words, even though it's May, you're getting paid from March 15th. So they're taking that as a crisis date. Now, is it good? No. Did
No.
they ever have a 1099 worker get unemployment? No. So the governor fired all the people that couldn't seem to get a hold of it, and he hired a whole new staff. But it's a huge undertaking. It's not the norm. So what do I think of it? I think it stinks. What do I think of it? I think it's great that come May, you're going to get a large chunk of money. That being said, you're still going to get from the $1,200, and you're still, I think, going to get the $600 a week. I think you get that too, right? Under
Yeah,
the
so
cap.
there's a stimulus. The stimulus money is going out. I already see people getting their money. So that you're going to see probably really quickly. And I'm going to hold back on my opinion of something connected to that.
The
then-
ridiculous signature.
Then you're going to have that money. And listen, they can't even get us tests. You know what I mean? Like, we can't even get tests. So like, which we're waiting on tests, checks. small business checks, stimulus package. Like it's a test of patience. So I'm with you. Before I get to Jesse's question, I also want to talk about this. So I'm glad that there's a safety net that didn't exist in '08, because in '08 there was no expectation, and I don't want to call it entitlement, but there was no expectation for the small guy to get bailed out. And what I did not agree with '08 is the big guys got bailed out and the little guy had to take it on the chin, right? So I am super happy that we have it this time around. That being said, there was a post by a realtor friend of mine, and he was like, this is thinning of the herd. And he was very harsh about it. But there was some true in it. You know, that it goes back to the first comment I made. If not you, then who? If not now, then when?
Thinning of the herd, meaning in workers?
Real estate. Real estate.
Okay.
And where it came down to was, in general, 50 to 70% of agents aren't going to be doing real estate at all in a great market. So if there's 50% less units out there, who's going to do the business? And that's the people who stand up and say, me. And it's the people who pivot and adapt now and don't hide. So that's really, really important to mention. You know what's funny, Pop? We're not even next to each other. And you're still pulling the same shit. You're still looking at your phone. It's the same game.
Nothing, everything changes, nothing changes.
Nope. All right, I've seen a lot of data about national effect on real estate as a whole. With Las Vegas relying on tourism as an industry, how much longer delayed or more impactful do you expect our local real estate industry to be impacted compared to the country as a whole? You want to go first?
Age before beauty.
I see, because he wants to formulate his thoughts while I give my great opinion. Here's the thing, Jesse. I think that we have some harder challenges than other cities, but I also believe we have some advantages than some other cities. If we stay on our the amount of cases we have and deaths, and if all these unknown factors, if the heat really does affect this virus, I think you'll see more people come to the Southwest. I think that the same people that moved to Vegas because of taxes and weather are going to continue to move to Vegas, whether it be New York, the East Coast, the Midwest, and California. Because if the economy stinks in California and it stinks in New York, they could sell their super expensive house, come here, be in great weather, and maybe deal with it a little bit better. Even though we can't go anywhere, we're constantly on the phone with people, Angie's friends and family in Illinois, that actually had snow recently. And we are on friends in New York that got to deal with bad weather. If we got to deal with this, I am so grateful I have a pool and I could go walking, and it's nice. And I still believe that when you're selling high and buying cheaper, that's going to keep our market stable. I don't think we're going to see a tremendous 20, 30% drop, because I don't think the inventory is going to be high enough to do it. And I think there's still going to be a ton of buyers. Now, the caveat is I don't know what's going to happen on the lending side. So who knows? That could throw a wrench into the whole thing. But when Major League Baseball is talking about doing an abbreviated season, they're talking about Arizona. The NBA is talking about Las Vegas. I think you're going to see people want to get away from the East Coast and away from California. And I think that's going to position us. Casinos, it's going to be tough. They're going to have to pivot and change the experience quickly. And I don't know how that's going to play out. The 42 million people that come in through the airport, are they going to feel comfortable flying? Are they going to feel comfortable going to a casino? So I do think we're going to feel that locally, and the local people will get hurt, just like in '08. I remember when I was president in 17, the question was, locals were saying we weren't affordable anymore, yet we kept going on these national lists of most affordable place to live, because locally it seemed like a lot of money and a bad deal. but nationally, we seemed like the best deal in the world. But I think the locals are going to get cut out a little bit, but we're going to still see an influx of people coming from other states. What do you think, Pop?
I think there's a long-term effect. I believe a lot of what you said is very true. I also believe that people are going to look to get out of the crowded major cities. So the
Agreed.
fact, to go back to Dave's point about coronavirus, this isn't going to end. If we're out and about, we're still going to have to deal with this for years, at least a year, some way or another. Maybe our new world will be masks and gloves. I don't know. But I do know that I am thrilled as an ex-New Yorker to live in Las Vegas, where I could walk the streets and still be okay, and go to the supermarket and not worry that everyone there has it. So I think you're going to see an influx of the larger cities coming to a city that, I'm not saying we're large, but we're the biggest little city in the United States. I always say it.
Isn't that Reno?
Yeah,
Isn't that there?
yeah, but not
But
us.
I get your point. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? People say, oh, you have 2 million. I said, yeah, it's Henderson, North Las Vegas. I don't feel crowded here, so I believe a lot of people, for instance, my sister, when it's all over, she wants to sell her house and move here to get out of everything. And when you hear her stories of what she's dealing with versus us, it's crazy difference, crazy. So I think some of them are going to move here. Again,
No.
like you said, the taxes, the inexpensiveness to live here are also going to, and the weather, because I'm going to go walking after this, and I know it's going to be 75 degrees.
You made some great points. So 2 amazing ones. I actually read an article on this, and you reminded me of how the exurbs, not even the suburbs, the exurbs, like even further out. So let's give us example. Us growing up in New York, if the city is Manhattan and then Queens is a little bit less crazy, Nassau County is a little bit more spread out. Suffolk, you started seeing some land, right? So what I read in this article was you're going to see people go even further past the suburbs. So here you'd be talking about like Sky Canyon, Pahrump, further out, even though I believe Summerlin and Green Valley aren't really, I mean, we're from New York. We don't feel like but we're going to see that the further places out, like instead of people saying, I want the second home on the beach in California, they may say, I want the ranch out in Idaho. And that's like so it was a very interesting urban kind of conversation of, we were on this track that all the cities were going to become the main points of the country in 20 years. And now this is going to change it completely. People are going to go further out. Remember, because we were starting to come back into the cities. And now
maybe, but then you hear my sister, she goes, oh my God. I said, oh my God, our deaths in Clark County has gone to 100. And she said, Dave, our deaths in New York a day is 800 people.
Or 1,000.
So think of that analogy and then think where you'd want to be. So
it's per capita. You'll laugh at this, Pop. I mean, I was even saying to Ange that I could see right now having like a little stable with a couple of horses and some land and going full circle.
The guy that didn't want our horses when we had them. All right.
I mean, as long as I have the little town with a couple of local restaurants and the coffee spot.
The man that goes to 7 different restaurants in 7 different days.
I just want the option.
Yeah.
I just want the option. I think these are the conversations. These are the things. I mean, everyone's in such a rush to get back to the way it is. And if you walk out of this without a lesson, shame on you. This should be.
If I owned a restaurant right now, what I'd be saying is, I'm taking 50% of my tables out. Come to me. Takeout's available. I'll make sure you're 6 feet away from every diner. That's the appeal that it's going to take to come back until we get the vaccine. So that's what I would do if I owned a restaurant right now. Would I rather have 100% fill of 50% less of the tables, or 50% full of 100% of the tables where I'm touching the guy next to me. Think of that. That's how I would run it.
Even Cuomo, he was like, disposable menus. I'm like, disposable menus, screw that. Remember old Grape Street? Put the menu on the wall,
Right.
right? If I'm, there's Dutch Brothers and there's Starbucks. Dutch Brothers, the restaurants are like little Quonset huts. Excuse me, the coffee spots. You can't even walk in there. There's enough space for 2 people, 3 people, and it's only drive-through. Dutch Brothers is going to kill it. If I'm Starbucks, I take half of my space because no one wants to sit in there on the Wi-Fi anymore, and I sell more food, and I make sure my takeout and my delivery is boom, boom, boom. I make sure my people are tested. I get my hands on tested and antibodies, so I'm able to market and say all of our people are tested weekly. This is what casinos are going to have to do. Everything's going to pivot, and that's why I love where you're thinking, because this is the lessons you have to learn. Like, there are going to be things like, for instance, I know there's going to be a hot button topic with you guys in legislative, but if we ever go back to classes that aren't online, that's ridiculous. Like, we've been waiting forever for the division and the association to be able to do everything online. And now they never always said we can't do it. And here we are, we're doing it.
Yeah, we are.
Like, we shouldn't lose these lessons on what. So we got a question from Cassie. Sorry, just jumped on. So you think there's value in marketing and relocation prospects right now? Absolutely. Beforehand, yes. And even more so now. What do you think, Bob?
I totally agree.
Yeah, always.
Mm-hmm.
Even more so now. Paint the picture. Now, don't, obviously, Cassie, you're a classy person, but I always have a caveat with this. Don't put something stupid like, we only have 100 deaths. Come here, it's safe. And it drives me nuts that I even have to say it. You know this, Pops. People would say this, right? I would focus on the no state income tax, the beautiful weather, and things like that. You're even going to push away from all the things you can do. This is going to be a reset. I bet you're going to see a lot of outdoor birthday parties. People who start thinking like this, like, okay, how are people going to have birthday parties for their kids and them feeling comfortable? Okay, maybe outdoor will be better and we can keep them separated and the parents feel more comfortable. And this is where you have to think outside the box. I'm with you, Pops, with the restaurants. Restaurants are going to change. If I'm a restaurant, I make sure my food is so good on takeout and delivery, so good.
And I do as much outside dining as I could. And then space the tables, make it smart so you could bring the comfort level back.
Let's talk about real estate. How do you think things change forever? I think less. So, okay, not just real estate, but any sales. The ability to communicate a message is going to be even more important than it was before. Because if you can only talk through this tiny little pinhole right here, you better be able to connect. And the irony is, all of these things that we are fighting that are changing were already happening. This is just accelerating the curve. We were already becoming a nation that didn't go out to eat as much and we got takeout more. We were already becoming a nation that worked at home more. We were already becoming this. This is just accelerating the curve. So if I'm an agent, I'm setting myself up to be able to do it like this for the rest of my life. That's why with the Nest, people would be like, well, what kind of brokerage are you? Are you a virtual brokerage or are you a brick and mortar? And what did I say, Pop?
We're both.
We're a hybrid, whatever
Right.
experience you want. And now we were positioned to do all of our classes online, CE online. We pay our checks off of email. I mean, literally, we have our whole staff sitting there, but there's 5 people that, 6 people a day that we're helping. And maybe, even if they use the conference room, we have a 10-foot conference room. So one of the people have to be on one side of the conference room, the other people would be, and our staff, they're awesome. They're distancing away from each other. So you can thrive in any
Also,
situation.
when the buyers are looking at houses now, and it's something we'd never think of, they're going to say, what if I'm trapped in this house? They're going to pick their house saying, wow, maybe I should get that house that has room for a home office or for a gym or something like that. Because now that they see, like, my biggest blessing is being on the golf course. because nature's to me, I'm seeing all the green and it makes me feel better. So I think when people choose a house now, especially right now during this time and after, they're going to think, what if I am stuck in that house for a certain amount of time? Does the house fulfill all my needs?
You know, Brian just made the same point. He said part of the beauty of Vegas is the trails, the parks, the cleanliness, and things like that. I mean, I live also not in Red Rock, but in Willow Creek, and we have that walking path connected to 3 different parks. It's been a saving grace. You know, if you're a pool builder right now, you should be out there. I mean, right behind me, I have my whole house being repainted. It looks amazing. Shout out to Julian Lovas, Deco Plus Painting. He's amazing. It looks great. I never thought it makes my house look 10 years younger.
So can I get painted too?
Yeah, and I kept the same colors. But this is the time. Listen, don't let the situation define you. Define the situation, right? Take the moment and make it perfect. Don't wait. Don't wait for permission from a politician or anyone else to be able to, in your mindset, feel like you're still able to thrive and work. Obviously, you respect the social distancing. Obviously, you respect the rules that you're dealt. But I'm positive, I'm seeing it every day at the Nest. I'm seeing it through friends of mine I have a friend that owns a restaurant company, and instead of hiding, he said, I'm going to double down. And he spent $100,000 on marketing, and he has brand new clients every day. He refused to be defined by the situation. He went and attacked, and the world isn't working. Universe isn't happening to you; it's happening for you. All right, Pops. We hit the hour. You tell me, what's your parting shot, my friend?
My parting shot is be safe, be active, and keep selling houses.
He can't even focus an hour, and he's look, he's got the Mr. Magoo glasses on. His eyes look this big. Mr. Magoo, you've done it again. I bet you they don't even know what it is, Pop.
Half of the crowd knows who Mr. Magoo is. Half of the crowd has no idea what you're talking about.
So we had the Wizard of Oz on
last night.
The other night. It's been on like every day.
Oh.
And I said, which is your favorite one? And they're picking. And I said, all right, which is Daddy's favorite? And they're like, the Tin Man. And I said, okay, which is Grandpa's favorite? They said they knew the Cowardly Lion. And they tried doing it. You got the guts to do it?
If I were king of the forest.
Oh, I love you. Zero care in the world about it. All right, my parting shot is, listen, guys. You can control very little, but you can control the 6 inches between both your ears. And you can control what's in your heart. So where there's a will, there's a way. And it's not just a saying, it's a belief. You can thrive right now. Don't wait for permission from somebody else, because they don't control your thoughts. And be safe, respect the rules, but don't hold yourself back. All right, Pops, let's get out of here. I will talk to you. I love seeing your face. I miss your face. You got my blue shirt on too, don't you?
Vaya con Dios.
All right, bye.
Bye.